Villarreal has reached the highest peaks in their history in both 2021 and 2022. From a team struggling in the lower leagues of Spanish football to Champions League semi-finalists. This is the story of Villarreal, the rise to glory, and at the end we are going to take a look at 5 steps to implement in order to replicate or even surpass their performance. Founded in 1923, the Spanish club's mission was to promote all sports, especially football. They entered regional competitions in the Spanish football pyramid in 1929, and the 1934-1935 season brought them their first failure to get promoted. They have lost the game for promotion to the Spanish second division against Cartagena. The Spanish Civil War interrupted the competition, but upon return in 1939, Villarreal was again in the regional second division. In the early 1940s, the club was dissolved. In 1942, CA Figuetegas has been founded as one of the clubs replacing the old one, formed by the acronym of the club's founders, Font, Gil, Herrero, Toiler, Català and Zaragoza. In 1946, the new club joined the Valencian Football Federation and renamed itself as CAF Villarreal, where the F stood for Figuetegas. In 1967, Villarreal returned to the Tercera, the third league of Spanish football, and in 1970, they have reached the Spanish Segunda División for the first time in their history. Following a string of back-to-back relegations, which saw them get as down as the regional leagues again in the mid-70s, Villarreal managed to climb to Segunda B in 1987. In 1990, following the 19th place finished in the league, they got relegated, yet again, in the Spanish Tercera. What followed in the 1990s culminated in a playoff game against Compostela in the 1997-1998 season in the Spanish second division. Villarreal hosted the first match, which ended 0-0. The away leg, played in Galicia, ended in a 1-1 draw, which meant that Villarreal were promoted to the Spanish First Division for the first time in their history. Exactly 75 years went by between the club's foundation to their promotion to the First League. Villarreal's La Liga debut started against the reigning European champions, Real Madrid, at Santiago Bernabeu. The Yellow Submarine, El Submarino Amarillo, as the club is nicknamed due to the yellow home kit, got relegated in the season 1999-2000, but got up to La Liga in the following season. Even though they were registering mid-table finishes in La Liga, the club competed in the UEFA Intertoto Cup in 2002 and went all the way up to the final. They have lost the final against Malaga 2-1 on aggregate. In the following year, 2003, Villarreal managed to defeat the Dutch side Heerenveen in the UEFA Intertoto Cup final, which meant that they were eligible for qualification in the UEFA Cup. In their major European debut, they have reached the semi-final, but they were defeated by another fellow Spanish club, Valencia. Villarreal became accustomed to playing in Europe and they retained the Intertoto Cup in 2004. They have reached the UEFA Cup again in the 2004-2005 season, but were eliminated by the Dutch side AZ Alkmaar in the quarterfinal, losing 3-2 on aggregate. During the same season though, the Yellow Submarine finished the league as the third place team, which meant that they were qualified to the Champions League. The next season, 2005-2006, saw the club winning the playoff for the Champions League group stage and then going undefeated in the group, following 2 draws against Manchester United and achieving a draw and a win each against Lille from France and Benfica from Portugal. This meant that the club qualified for the last 16 phase of the competition. No club seemed to be able to stop Villarreal, who eliminated Rangers and Internazionale Milano on their way to the semi-finals. They have bowed in the semi-final against Arsenal, losing 1-0 away at Highbury and drawing 0-0 at home. Villarreal did not stop there and backed up their 2006 European performance with 1 appearance in the UEFA Cup in 2008, 1 in the Champions League in the 2008-2009 season, and another UEFA Cup presence in the 2009-2010 season, following a suspension of Mallorca from the competition. Giuseppe Rossi was the competition's second top goal scorer with 11 goals, and Villarreal bowed again in the semi-final, this time against Porto. On the 13th of May 2012, the club got relegated to the Spanish Segunda División. The relegation brought with it a mass exodus of players. most notable ones being Borja Valero, Diego Lopez, Giuseppe Rossi and Nilmar. The club got promoted immediately, and in 2014-2015 they restarted their relationship with the European football, qualifying for the UEFA Cup. In the 2016-2017, the club participated in the Champions League yet again. Following a break from European football, the Yellow Submarine finished 5th in the 2019-2020 La Liga season and booked their place in the 2020-2021 Europa League season. What followed was a magnificent performance by Villarreal. One by one, Sivasspor, Karabakh and Maccabi Tel Aviv dropped points against them in the group stage. Red Bull Salzburg, Dynamo Kiev and Dynamo Zagreb were eliminated in the knockout stage. What awaited was another semi-final against Arsenal. This time, Villarreal were on top and went through to the Europa League final for the first time in their history. The 50th edition of the competition saw them matched with Manchester United, and what followed was the perfect ending for their European story so far. A resilient performance saw the Yellow Submarine leave the trophy after an 11-10 victory on penalties. All 11 players from Villarreal scored their penalties, while David De Gea missed his. Almost 100 years into their history culminated with one of their biggest successes. Villarreal were crowned Europa League champions, and this meant that they were going to play Champions League football yet again in the 2021-2022 season. Their 2021-2022 European season was as scintillating as their previous Europa League one was. Following a qualification from the group stage, where they played against Atalanta, Manchester United and Young Boys Bern, Villarreal swept past Juventus and Bayern München to reach another Champions League semi-final. They have faced Liverpool, and following a 2-0 defeat at Anfield, everyone was backing them to turn it around. The game started with a high pressing from the Yellow Submarine, and they did manage to score 2 goals against Liverpool by half-time. Everyone was in awe. Unfortunately for Villarreal, Liverpool is experienced in these kind of games, and they managed to turn the advantage and make it 3-2. All came crashing down for Villarreal in the second half of the second leg, but they have earned the respect of everyone watching, especially their supporters, who, after decades of lower and regional Spanish football, have been treated to 30 years of European exuberance. A club from a small city managed to reach high peaks in European football and even won a major European trophy. They fell short of replicating the same feat in the Champions League, but reaching the semi-final of the European major competition twice is a remarkable achievement for a club like Villarreal. Come to think about it, Villarreal managed to do in their almost 100 years of history what every Football Manager player wishes to achieve. In order to replicate and even surpass their achievements, you need to pay attention to these 5 areas of the game. It all starts with the players, and Villarreal do have a well-established squad. Mario Gaspar and Raúl Albiol are the perfect leaders of the team. The team has a perfect blend of experience with the 2 leaders, Dani Parejo, Etienne Capoue, Gerard Moreno and Francisco Clan, and youthful exuberance with Pau Torres, Pervis Estupiñán, Samuel Chukwueze and Yeremy Pino. The team by itself can help you so much, so it will rest upon you, the manager, to make sure you keep them fit and happy. Keeping them fit and safe from injuries will ensure better performances. In Football Manager 2022, a player who is not fit has the worst performance level. You can do this by rotating the squad at least once every 3 games and by scheduling balanced training sessions. You need to make sure that during the pre-season phase, you apply all available physical training sessions so you keep the players in shape for the season to come. While during the season, you have one option for weeks when you play 1 game and one lighter option for weeks when you play 2 games. The morale of the players is also important, and you can keep it high by praising and criticizing the players each week. Yes, criticizing motivates them. By going to the training session and then the individual one, you then need to praise each player who had a training level of over 7.55 and criticize any player who had a training level of below 7. The development of the youth players is also crucial, and as your save progresses, you need to raise the youth facilities, junior coaching and youth recruitment levels. Villarreal already provides good youngsters in the development center, with Carlo Adriano and Nikita Iosifov leading the lines, but in the first team, you already have Samuel Chukwueze and Yeremi Pino who are able to play at the first team level, but can be improved further. The finances play a big part for any football club, and even though you get 15 million euros transfer budget and 30k euros per week wage budget, even with the recent European performances, the club is projected to collapse financially. You need to monitor this part closely and as much as possible draw as much revenue as you can. With La Liga giving 30 million euros parachute payments, plus maybe about 50 million euros coming from the Champions League, provided that you qualify at least to the quarterfinal stage, the negative 93 million euros projection over the 3 years doesn't seem that bad. Villarreal has started as a small club from a small city. In time, the club has outgrown the city and they have brought honor to their mission, to promote all sports, especially football. Through Football Manager, us, as players of the game, have the chance to enhance their performances and get the club to an even higher ground. The legacy is there, we just need to build on it. In the meantime, make sure you are updated with the latest Champions League changes, and in order to do so, watch this video next. I am Alex, and I thank you for watching today's video. Until next time, dear audience, stay safe, relax and have fun.